When the cries of the poor and oppressed crescendo behind the rationality of humanity, a freedom fighter responds by organizing them. When the toiling masses of our workers create so enormous the wealth for the few, yet languish in poverty, the consciousness of the freedom fighter steps in to mobilize them. Our natural incline to self-preservation is but a trait long lost in the makeup of a freedom fighter. The freedom fighter is the one who organizes and mobilizes the poor and the working class selflessly by giving her life to the ideal of freedom for humanity. Comrade Joyce Pekane epitomized a freedom fighter. She lived a life full of love for her people. She embodied the characteristics saying that Comrade Che so loved, for she, I quote, trembled with indignation at every injustice meted out to her people. She took the best part of a precious life to save our people. She lost her youth fighting for the ideal that one day South Africa will be free. She never complained but derived great joy that her life was lived for a higher purpose. Hence, we would like to bow to you, the Pekane family. You gifted our country by allowing this selfless freedom fighter to join millions of other young patriots in the trenches fighting for freedom. We would like to thank you for freeing her to be a heroine amongst the poor and the working class. Your selflessness as the family is an honor to us in the broader ANC family and the legislature sector. Our struggle going forward will be for us never to deface her legacy by betraying our people. It is our pledge in an honor that we make in front of you, the Pekane family. In the last 25 years, the African National Congress has ensured that those cries that drove Comrade Joyce to take up arms and fight for the people have been heard. Millions of our people have their dignity restored back. These are achievements of which Comrade Joyce have been an integral part of it, and yet they are not enough. Many of our young people in the country whom we have spent millions taking to various education institutions come back home to stay. Not because they are lazy, but because of lack of job creation initiatives due to difficulties of a capitalist economy. Yet, her formative years as a worker leader and one of the driving desires of hers was to see full employment of our people. When she served as a legislator, she worked towards this ideal within the ANC caucus. As the African National Congress, we will pledge to see this ideal of jobs for our people, especially the youth, being realized in our lifetime. To this end, the government has unveiled its plan to revitalize the economy. The plan has been crafted to ensure that millions of our young people are given meaningful purpose as citizens in their own country, to build a country which will serve all those who live in it. The central tenet of the plan is ensuring that it strengthens the current infrastructure and build new ones which will act as a catalyst for economic recovery. Embedded also in this plan is a role for small business, women, and youth in the implementation of this economic policy. In empowering our people through this plan, the ANC will also seek to partner with communities. Today, we will need you as members of community to mobilize such that any criminal hoping to hijack this economic development program will be met by an organized and fearless community. It is here and in honor of Comrade Joyce that we should forthwith banish extortionists, some in our colors who claim 30% of business benefit for themselves. In implementing of this economic plan, let us ensure that the community truly benefit. Let us as a community ensure that a house with no one working benefit from jobs that will be created by these infrastructure programs. Comrade Joyce has taught us to tremble on any injustice, even if those committing it are criminals amongst us. We will not fail you, Comrade Joyce. We will defend the economic benefit of this plan, that this plans intend to our communities. Our communities are under attack, honorable members. Our very existence as we know it is being threatened today. The old age saying of umuntu ngumuntu ngabantu is more relevant today in the context of this attack. COVID-19 is not a personal affliction, it is also a social affliction. Your conduct as a person has a huge and life-threatening implication, not only for your neighbor, but for your husband, your wife, your grandparents, and children. The selfless conduct which epitomizes the life of Comrade Joyce should be emulated by all of us. We need to think not only of our comfort, but the pain that we will inflict on those we claim to love. Like in the days of underground, where recklessness by a comrade will endanger the project of liberation, we urge you to take heed to protect your family, community, province, and the country. Wash your hands, social distance, wear a mask. These are 3 behavioral changes which should bear as our AK-47s to battle against this virus. Fare thee well, Comrade Joyce Pekane, a tireless worker, a leader, a community activist, and the leader of the people. Your race is done. As Percy Bysshe Shelley closes your chapter of this world when he aptly says, I quote, "The flower that smiles today, tomorrow dies. All that we wish to stay, tempts and fly." What is this world? What is this world delight? Lightning that mocks the night, brief even as bright. Rest in eternal peace, Comrade Joyce. Your spirit must live long. With these few words, allow me, honorable members, to welcome you in this memorial service to celebrate the life of one of our own who served in this legislature. This is going to be one of the shortest programs that we're going to have, depending on the speakers themselves. And to that extent, I will also be directing this memorial service to celebrate the life of one of our former member, Comrade Joyce Pekane. Our program stands. We will have the welcoming, which I've already dealt with. Then we will have a message being read on behalf of the family member. And I think one of the comrades is nominated to do that. The former member, Greg, will do that for us, if that's still the arrangement, to read a message from the daughter. Then we'll proceed to receive a tribute by Honorable Member Nomandunko Moralihuku, the MEC for Finance, who worked tirelessly with with Honorable Member Joyce. Then we're going to have a tribute, because this is a worker leader. We will then have a tribute by COSATU, Provincial Secretary, Comrade Luisa Mudikwe. And lastly, we will have a tribute by former member who is currently the Provincial Secretary of the ANC, Comrade Jacob Howe. And then we'll close our session. Can I then request a member, former Honorable Member Greg, to read us the message or a tribute by family? Greg?
Good evening, Chief Whip, and good evening to the others that are part of this virtual memorial service. The tribute that I've been asked to read is as follows. It's a memorial tribute to my mother, uMaJoy-Joy Pekane. My name is Ayanda Pekane, daughter of uMaJoy-Joy Pekane. I am honored to take a moment to tell you about the life of my incredible mother. It is a life that should be honored, celebrated, and remembered as one filled with zeal, laughter, vibrancy, and beauty. To the House and all present, protocols observed. as we are gathered here this evening to celebrate and honor my mother, because to me, she was the one that gave me life and the only country I started to inhabit before inhabiting the world as we know it. For most of you here, she was a colleague, a friend, a superior, and because who would Mama be if she wasn't a fearlessly outspoken individual as she was in life? The straight talker that she was, never afraid of confrontation because truth is what she lived. Nomalisa Joyce Pekane was born on the 25th of November 1960, born to my grandparents who are both deceased, and the last born of the 4 siblings. As a child, judging from the observations of watching my mother as I was growing up, she must have been one that had a passion and celebrated life to the fullest. My mother was one that stood for justice and equality, hence her robust participation in the politics and in activism beyond factions. And she was one that was passionate also about education, hence her constant support and encouragement to further my education. She also pursued her education as well in the capacities and portfolios that she served, because she believed in education being relevant so people serving the nation are competent. I never experienced my mother in her political and activist roles because I believe she was protecting me from all the challenges that could result from her political activities that she was part of. I will miss her for her loving kindness, her presence, her guidance, and her love. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Comrade Greg. As we struggle with the new normal that we all have to work under, I would have liked to be in a hall full of people singing revolutionary songs in celebration of this life, but the new normal is upon us, and hence we have to do what we are doing. But also, honorable members, we woke up today in the morning with not so good the news for Gauteng Legislature again. We have lost one of our honorable members who was the chairperson of community safety, member Mapiti Matsena. And to that extent, I would wish us to, in this memorial service, of course, to have a moment of silence as we proceed with this program. May you all observe a moment of silence. May the soul of the departed rest in peace. Thank you very much, honorable members, comrades, and friends. We'll now proceed with our program to have a tribute from Honorable Nomantu Nkomo Ralihuku, who's also the MEC for Finance in the province of Gauteng. Member Ralihuku.
Thank you, Chief Whip. Thank you, Chief Whip. Good evening, comrades. Madam Speaker, the family of Comrade Joyce, fellow mourners, ladies and gentlemen. The lesson of Psalms Ecclesiastes says that the life of a good person is like a tree whose leaf does not wither. A tree takes a longer time to grow, and wounds take a longer time to heal, but we must begin. Honorable Chief Whip, I'm devastated and I'm very saddened. And I never anticipated that this day I would be requested to pay tribute to my comrade Joyce Pekane. Whilst we dedicate this day to remember her contribution in her life as a colleague, a friend, and a comrade, we get other news of the passing of Comrade Mapiti. This is too much to bear. The entire membership of the ANC was shocked to find that with such a distinct leader who was selfless in character, but always willing to fight for the emancipation of women. I speak here bearing the condolences of the entire PCO of the African National Congress as a whole, and I hope that the family and friends will find solace in the Lord Jesus Christ, our Savior, at this hour of need. Honorable Chief Whip, today we mourn someone who was known for her vigor. She was tough as a tick in her life, but because death deceives, today her life has abruptly succumbed to the inevitable death. For we know that there can be no life without death. Since the news of Comrade Joyce past reached us, we had to deal with a painful truth that we all live on borrowed time. The painful truth that there can be no life without death, and the shock that came with those sad news. She enjoyed listening to communities reliving their daily struggles and felt so fulfilled in resolving their challenges and reporting on the task given. In the conduct of this legislative and political work, she had no barrier of friendship, of friends or comradeship that could hinder her from holding each other accountable in a very robust and comradely manner. She worked among the people all her life, and her fortitude increased with each day, for she knew that the mission of liberation knew no obstacles, and that the greater good and prosperity at a macro level makes greater impact for all and on individual basis. In history, rare breeds such as Comrade Joyce made their unique contribution, but she always augured that her contribution at each stage of her life was reshaped by the input of others to become unrecognizable on its own standing, separate from those she worked with. Yet with that she said about her, her contribution stand out as a monument, precisely because she did not fear to differ with any person. She was very brave. She stood firm on principles. She was blunt in dealing with obstacles to social and revolutionary change. She was equally honest and blunt in raising issues within the ranks of the liberation movement. And on the ground, when we're doing organizational work, I doubt you would know where she stood on any issue, and therefore no one was beyond reproach in her eyes. Madam, I'm sorry, Honorable Chief Whip, we have indeed suffered a great loss to all of us, and as it is said, time heals. As it is said, time heals. The Psalms concludes by saying, "Those who are lost now belong to God. Someday we will be in with them." But until that happens, their legacy must be our legacy. Lalango Xolo, Joyce Pekane, and you'll always be remembered. Thank you all, and God bless you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member MEC Nkomo Oralihuku, with that tribute. Indeed, it's an indication that of a life well lived. It's an indication of life well lived amongst the people themselves. You will see even in my opening remark, I emphasized the days before the freedom, because Comrade Joyce is not only an activist of today, but she's also an activist of yesterday. Those who were in the trenches in difficult times to bring us where we are. And in order for us to move forward, we must never ever forget where we come from, honorable members. So thank you very much, Honorable Nkomo Oralihuku. Now I would, because as I said, this was the worker leader, she came to the legislature itself. She was nominated by the workers while she was representing the African National Congress in the legislature itself. To that end, I would like to request Comrade Luisa Mudigwe, the Gauteng Provincial Secretary, to pay tribute to this gallant fighter.
Thanks, Honorable Chief Whip, honorable members and comrades. Indeed, we have lost the great one. We have lost the mother of the working class and the mother of the workers. Comrades, Joyce was a shop steward at Robinson Spice. The factory was in Road. And by the way, it was around the 1980s. That is when it was not fashionable to lead workers, as a lot of shop stewards and officials were charged with treason. But Comrade Joyce led those workers even into a strike, making sure that they fight for their rights and introducing the Provident Fund, comrades. That was called Chemical Industrial National Provident Fund. The very same Comrade Joyce didn't end up there. She propagated so much for women leadership in the union, but she didn't fight for positions. You know, she was so principled. She knew exactly what route to take. And Comrade C, she went through the route and through the relevant and correct steps of promotions, getting to positions in the organization. She was part of the paper printing wood and allied workers union when they joined or integrated with CWIU. And there, that is when SEPAU was born, and she was the deputy president then of SEPAU. Comrades, then in 1999, she was elected as COSATU's second deputy president. Not once, not twice, not ever did Comrade Joyce forget her principled culture, because she always put workers at the forefront. At COSATU, she led on the HIV-related matters. She led on health and safety matters. She led again on making sure that women get positions correctly. So she led in campaigns that address patriarchy. And up until now, even in legislature, we know her to being so committed. Comrade Joyce has been the fighter. She was part of the alliance structures. She took role even in the street committees. That was the leader that we saw in her. That was the leader that we still gonna miss. And when COSATU seconded her to legislature, COSATU did not make a mistake. They knew exactly that they are taking someone who knows exactly the right route to take. And we are saying, go well, Comrade Joyce. When you get there, tell them that the struggle is still on. COVID-19 is not the issue. We are seeing the surprising and hurtful situation whereby women are abused on a daily basis. The signs of femicide are more than before. Children are being killed on a daily basis. And through her death, where her blood has fallen, we are saying, comrades, let us try to make sure that all this stops. Amandla.
Thank you very much, the Provincial Secretary of COSATU. You have made us to know, even in death, Comrade Joyce better, because you lived with and you worked with. Before, as we proceed, I want to ask Member Bloom, because I can see that you're present in this memorial service and you've been part of this legislature for quite some time. I want to ask Member Bloom to, and I'm hijacking you, I know, because I did not prepare you, but to say one or two words in remembrance of a former member that I know for the fact that you served with. Member Bloom, can you please do that for us?
Thank you for the honor. Look, I must say that to me she was extraordinarily principled, of integrity. I think that's what stood out for me. I think she served loyally, and I'm honored that I served at the same time as she did in the legislature. I think an example for us all. And I must say I was truly shocked and saddened at her passing, untimely. But that's the way of the world, unfortunately. But I think she left her imprint on the legislature. I think that's how I want to remember her. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Member Bloom. It is with those home words that are also humbling words to remember one of your own colleagues that you worked with in the legislature. I would now want to ask Comrade Jacob Hawe, the former member of our legislature, the former member. You are not the former member of our caucus. You are actually the member of our caucus in the legislature, but also the provincial secretary of the ANC as a mandating authority for all of us who are participating as members in the legislature to pay tribute to this gallant fighter. Comrade P.S.
Thank you very much, Chief Whip. Greetings to everybody who is in this session. Greetings to the Deputy Secretary of the ANC, the Chairperson of the IFP, who is also a Chairperson of a Portfolio Committee, the leaders of the Democratic Alliance, the staff of the legislature who are present in this session. I just want to start from where I normally don't go, with the hope that Comrade Greg will pass the message to the family, to the sisters of Comrade Joyce, and to the daughter. As I was thinking, what should I say, I found a verse in Psalms 34, verse 18, and I want to read what it says, that the Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. It is at this moment that I have full confidence that the power above all of us at this moment, it's close to the Pekane family and to the daughter in particular. Normalizo, Joyce Pekane, and in fact, when you say Normalizo, I remember how she vehemently objected when the late Comrade Tuliswa would call her, and she would ask, Mama or Sisi, you call me by my name. And that was Normalizo for us. COVID is an enemy. It's an enemy at war with society. And that society seems not to be aware that it is at war. The society that at times wants to argue, debate, instead of collectively focusing on defeating the enemy. It defeated her and it defeated many, and it continues to do so. And we've got to use platforms like this to work with each other and ensure that collectively as people, we defeat COVID-19. Sis Joyce was a kind of cheeky person who preferred straight talk at all times. She was a fighter. She would easily get irritated by nonsense and mockery. She would easily get irritated by somebody whom she, if she didn't understand what was said, she would find ways through action or speaking in a loud voice to express her dissatisfaction. Sis Joyce as I used to call her, uMaJoy-Joy, was equally a loving and a caring leader. She contributed what she had to the needy. Her house, her office in the legislature was a base for those who wanted any form of support, and people knew that they would have to go and visit uMaJoy-Joy to get any form of support. A community leader who stood by her community, a community leader in Katlehong, a worker leader. She had her space, a chair and a sofa in the members' lounge where she would provide community service of any form. uMaJoy-Joy was that person who would give even what she didn't have. We used to fight with her when she promised people to come and collect money at legislature while she was still fundraising that money from all of us. But she would have made a commitment and she would say to individuals, I'm going to ask Kawe, I'm going to ask Socks, I'm going to ask Sakiwe, and they will give me money and I will give it to you. She did not believe in an answer that says no. We thank her family because this is a demonstration of how she was brought up. We thank those who worked with her, struggled with her, who shaped her character to be what she was. She was indeed a kind of a person that you would love to be next to. I personally worked with Comrade Joyce for years as a member of the legislature, and I fully agree with Member Blom that in the moment we worked with her, she demonstrated qualities of care, love, and she loved what she was doing. She served together with me in many, many committees. We sat, in fact, next to each other for 2 terms. And if you were to sit next to uMaJoy-Joy for 2 terms, means 10 years. And you'd have to sit with her every time, every week. And uMaJoy-Joy had some elements of liking to whisper loud, thinking that nobody hears. And the one topic for years that would discuss whether it was a form of dissatisfaction or an acknowledgement that our time had not arrived to be deployed in the executive, and would gossip about why would this one and not that one. And we had concluded, me and her, that we would not be deployed in the executive. But where she was naughty, it would be at the time when somebody had to be redeployed back to be a member of the legislature or out of the cabinet. And uMaJoy-Joy would say to me, Zithini ntwana, Zithini zindaba, uphuma bani? And I would say to uMaJoy-Joy, uyabona Sis Joyce, kumnandi ukuhlala legislature. And this to me was an education she provided, that we do not serve people by being in the executive, but we serve people by doing what we're supposed to do in the positions of deployment. Comrade Joyce was a chairperson of Sports, Arts and Culture. And during that time, Comrade Joyce would open a center for artists, all forms of artists, to come to the legislature
to lay their grievances, seeking assistance of government. And this she did very well. She introduced all of us to the former soccer players and asked us to organize a tournament and then support them financially, those who were fallen out in the economic mainstream due to whatever reasons. She would welcome new champions in the province, and she would ask members of the Holy Bar Council to do a different hosting to acknowledge the world boxing champion or the tennis champion. I remember she had created uncomfortable environment for one young lady who was compelled to spend at least 3 hours with people of different race from her, different age from her, but to sit with her at the bar and celebrate her achievement. Sis Joyce was there to build what today is called Combi Courts, and yesterday it was called multi-sports centers. And she was a champion of that program. Sis Joyce refused to be instructed to be soft to the departments. She used to argue that departments are not necessarily ANC, that departments are government officials who, when needs be, must be criticized and not be treated as activists or revolutionaries. Sis Joyce would refuse to amend a report strategically on concerns, and she wanted to spend more time on concerns in her reports because she believed that she was representing the voice of the people, additionally, not less, not more, of the mandate of the ANC. Sis Joyce was an exemplary of a leader who understands, and she understood oversight function. We will miss you, former member of the legislature, former leader of COSATU, former member of the Holy Bar Council. Sis Joyce was a leader whose character should be given to many leaders if it was possible that those who leave must leave behind their characters. We will miss you, Sis Joyce, a member again of the place known, as I continuously make reference to. My apologies, Chief Whip. This is not a formal structure, but it's a useful organization in the community of the legislature, the Holy Bar Council, where Sis Joyce was a member, a non-drinking member with Sis Togo and with Tuliso, but loyal to the programs of the council. I can't accept that so soon after we laid to rest Comrade Tuli, that Comrade Joyce has departed. We say to you, Sis Joyce, wherever you are, your membership will remain in the People's Organization for a purpose. Go and join the members' lounge in heaven. Comrade Tuli, Comrade Magama, Comrade Baji are waiting for you. And I have no doubt that even the president of the ANC, the longest president of the ANC, Oliver Tambo, is waiting for you, for you have played a role to liberate South Africans. And I want to thank the Chief Whip, the Speaker, members of the legislature, under these circumstances, to honor in this manner Comrade Joyce Pekane, normally. So today we wake up with sad news, and I thought I needed strength to do the task I'm doing now. And I want to thank Sis Joyce for giving me strength to do this task. And I wish all of you safety. I wish protection for all of you. And may we lay Sis Joyce to rest in peace eternally. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, PS. As we learn to live with a new normal, I would want you to have some people next to you next time, because the better part of you, we only saw your mouth. But at least we heard you, we could follow you. But now we can see you after you have spoken. Thank you very much.
Oh.
The Holy Bar. Member Bloom, I know that you've been in the legislature for quite some time, but I am very certain you don't know about the Holy Bar. We will tell you about it sometime. Thank you very much, members. Let me start by thanking all the speakers who spoke this evening, family member of the Pekanis, the family itself, but also to acknowledge that we have some of our members and other activists who are linked with us through the YouTube. We want to thank you very much for being part of us. We also want to thank the members who were directly connected here in this evening. We thank you very much for being with us, Member Dlamini, Member Bloom, Member Moriate, Member Sox, and many more, the Deputy Chief Whip and other members who are connected directly with us this evening. We want to thank you very much. We want to say to you, PS, and many other of our leaders, that as we proceed with this new normal, we hope to do better than today. But we thought that it will be very, very much important to pay tribute and to celebrate this life well lived within the sector itself, within the province itself, within the political realm itself. So we want to thank you very much for honoring and accepting the invitation for this evening memorial service. As I said, we also woke up with devastating news, and these are the news of passing on of Member Mapit. We are in a difficult moment as it is, as this sector, as the province itself. To that extent, we're hoping that the legislature will play its part to ensure that it lays to rest one of its own in the form of Comrade Mapit. Lastly, let me thank the Speaker. I know that we would have wanted to program direct, but she has a bereavement within the family. But let's thank her for supporting us and giving us the responsibility to proceed with this memorial. My last words goes to the family of Pekane. Please know that in your pain, we are with you as the broader liberation movement. Please know that in your pain, as you're going to bury one of your own, one you dearly so love, know that as the Gauteng province, on behalf of the people of this province, on behalf of the Gauteng Provincial Legislature, the government of Gauteng, led by Premier Makura, we are with you in the pain, and we want to say that let's allow her to go. Let's allow her to rest, and not only to rest, but to rest in peace. Thank you very much, honorable members. The memorial service stay urgent. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. T
Thank you, Chief Whip. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Chief Whip.
Thank you, Chief Whip.
Members, the
Thank you very
memorial
much, Chief Whip,
service
for the leadership.
stay urgent. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Whip. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Chief Whip.
Thank you, Chief Whip.
Members, the
Thank you very
memorial
much, Chief Whip,
service
for the leadership.
stay urgent.